अच्छा जी, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is video related to the MATLAB because some of you requested that we need a MATLAB overview once again so that you won't feel any problem tomorrow or day after tomorrow for the labs. So I'm going to give a brief introduction to the lab so that you won't find it difficult while doing the lab experiments. Okay, so let's start. I have my MATLAB 2018 installed, and as we had seen before, we have multiple windows here. As you can see, we have the home tab, we have plots tab and apps tab. The details would be seen later on, and then we have the MATLAB files. We can make new MATLAB files from here. We can make a new MATLAB file or Simulink file or other files from here. We can open up some old file of MATLAB, and then we have other stuff here which we don't need for right now. Okay, other than that, we have a command window which is an executable window where we see the outputs. Um, and along with that, we have the current folder window and our workspace. The current folder window simply shows the folder that is currently executing, or wherever the file is placed, and the workspace window simply tells us, or you can say it withholds all the variables and all the matrices whatever we have made in MATLAB. Okay, so I have adjusted my window back. Okay, so now let's make a new script, and it opens up an editor window where you can write your code all at once, and you can manipulate your code. For the command window, like we did previously, if we want to define a variable a, let's say I'm going to define a is equal to 1. So what it's going to do, as I write a is equal to 1 and press enter, it is going to execute the command that I have written. And along with that execution, what else it will do, it will simply tell me the it will tell me in the workspace that I have made a variable a, and what is the value that is present in that variable. So basically, this is how we define the variables and matrices in the command through the command window. And similarly, if I am going to write a is equal to 1 here, what it's going to do, it's going to work the same way. If I'll save the file, let's say I'm going to save it on my desktop and name it, let's name it check. Okay, so when I'm going to run it, it's going to ask me the change folder and add to path. We had a great discussion on it, why we need to add to path or why we need to change the folder. Okay, so as I'm going to run it, so it's going to give me the same execution result under the editable M file that is named as check. Okay. So let's move forward towards the signals and systems, as we had already been doing. So if I have to define a signal, let's say I have to define a signal cos of t for the time 0 to 2 pi. So first of all, I'm going to define my t, the independent variable, and for the independent variable, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it the range in which I want to define it. As you know, the range is 0 to 2 pi, but because MATLAB doesn't know that it is a continuous signal or a discrete signal, so what we are going to do is we are going to make it look like a discrete signal, continuous signal, by giving it a step size and giving it as much smaller step size as possible, so that it gives us as if we have done a continuous signal instead of a discrete signal. Okay, so we have defined the t, and I have used this method of defining t. There are two different methods of creating arrays that we had studied. One is this one, like you give the starting point, you give the ending point, and you define the step size. That each of the value in the array each next value in the array would be how much at a difference from the previous value. Okay, so another method is the linspace method, and through the linspace method, if I'm going to define it, so what the linspace method do, it simply takes in the value of the starting point, the ending point, and in how many parts we want to define this signal. Let's say I want to define the same signal in 1000 points. So this is another method to define an array. Okay, so if I'm going to run it, let's say I'm going to take 100 points in the, or let's say I'm going to define it in 50 points in the start. So what it's going to give us in the result, it's going to give us 50 points from 0 to 2 pi. What does it do? It divides this range into these many points. Okay, so these are two different methods of defining a signal. We are going to work with the first one, so I'm going to comment it out. Okay, now the next thing is to define the dependent variable, the y. So what is our y? Our y is we were going to define a cos of t, so we are going to write cos of t. So because we don't have to do anything else here, so this is our y. I'm going to put the semicolons right in front of them so that they won't fill up the command window. And okay, let's just remove them and see the command window results as well along with the plot. And the third thing is how we plot the signal. So it's a simple command of plot. What we are going to plot is we are going to have independent variable on the x-axis, that is t, and the dependent variable on the y-axis, that is y. We are going to plot it, and along with the plot, what we used to do is we used to format the graph, and that formatting is a very important part, because without the format, without knowing what is on the x-axis, what is on the y-axis, we cannot define the graph. Okay, so we are going to label the axis first. So x label, we have x label as time t, and then we are going to have y label as cos of t function. Okay, along with that, I'm going to give it a title, and the title would be graph of cos of t with respect to time. Okay, so this is how we are going to format. I'm going to save it and then run it. So what happened as I run it, one thing that happened is it gave us the result of the t and y, because we have so many points. So let's just give it a quick look. See, this is your t2. As the check files will start to run, we will have a t2, and along with t2 we will have y. This is your y. Okay, so, and if I'm going to put a semicolon in front of these two, it's not going to give us any of these results. So if you can see, I run the file and it just moves to the next execution command instead of giving us the output of t and y. And this is how you can see the graph between 0 to 2 pi. Our cos graphs look like this. Okay, so the next thing, instead of cos, let's make another graph, that is y2 is equal to sine of t. And what we are going to do is, first we plot t with respect to y, and we labeled all of it. And now what we are going to do is we are going to plot y2 with respect to the same t, that means from 0 to 2 pi. Now we have a time t and a function of sine of t. Okay, and the graph of cos of t and sine of t, sorry, we shouldn't have a space here, and cos of t and sine of t with respect to time. Now we are going to run it once again, and what happened is it gave us the graph of cos of t and did not display the it gave us the graph of sine of t and did not place the graph of cos of t. So we remember from the from the previous lectures that it always overrides that plot, the previous plots that we had. So what it did, it plot the t with respect to cos of t. It labels, it put the labels and put the title, and then what does it do? It plot another graph over the previous graph. So what happened is the new graph overlaid the previous one. So for that case, what we used to do, we used to put the hold on command. Hold on means it will plot, it will put the labels, it will put the title. Sorry, I think we don't need to put a title here, so I'm going to comment it for the multiple graphs. So what is going to do is it will plot cos of t, it will label, it will put the labels x label and y label. Okay, I think we don't even need to write these labels all together. Okay, so we will write the labels sin t and cos of t functions. Okay, and we will hold off here. Okay, so what it's going to do, it will plot cos of t with respect to y, it will hold on, then plot sin of t with respect to t, and then hold off, and then here it will plot y, which means cos of t with respect to t, and then we'll hold on, then we'll plot sin of t with respect to t, then we'll hold off, and then we'll put the labels and title on the graph. Okay, I think hold off should be at the end. So let's just run it and see what does it results. Okay, so now we can see that we have the time, we have sin of t and cos of t functions, and we have both the functions. Another thing is that if we don't want to put multiple statements or hold on and hold off command, what we can do other than this is we can put the plot command and we can say plot y with respect to t in red color and in dashed lines. Along with that, plot y2 with respect to t in magenta color and in permanent line. Okay, so this is another way of defining multiple plots in the same line, that we are defining the color schemes and the type of the graph by ourselves and plotting multiple graphs all together. Along with that, we are going to give the x label, which is time, and we are going to give y label, which is sin of x and cos of x, and then we are going to give the title to the graph, that is graph of cos of x and sin of x. Okay, so when we are going to run it, there is an error using line type. Okay, so this is not a line type. I think dot underscore is a line type. Okay, so even if we are not going to give it, it is going to draw it in a solid line. See these two graphs. So the first graph is in magenta and the second graph is in, the first one is a solid line and the second one is in magenta with the solid line. First one is a dotted dashed line in red and the second one is in magenta, but there is an error which says the closest match is title MATLAB toolbox title graph of cos of t and sin of. Okay, graph of cos of x and sin of x. Okay, we can see the errors later on, but for right now I think this is well enough an explanation to what we